that we did, or the exercise that we did the other day, showed y'all how to find the probability of an event. You can find the probability of an event by mathematically calculating, meaning 1 out of 6 sides, or you can do the probability by actually doing the experiment 10 or 15 times and finding the probability by finding the physical probability, what I call it. There's other ways to find probability using sample spaces. What's sample spaces? Well, if you think of having 3 children, and just write this down, and the reason you need to write it down is because you're going to see it on the test, or you're going to see it in the homework. A couple, of course, it's going to be worded a whole lot better than this because I can't talk. I can't do grammar all right. But a couple wants to have 3 kids. Okay, they're going to say children, kids, whatever. What is the probability of having 2 boys and a girl? Alright, so there you go. Now, the reason I show this problem is because students need to know how to make a sample space. And this is the best problem to show that because, I don't know, this is the one that I always use. So you have to have a sample space. And there's 8 of them. And you start with all boys, right? Boy, boy, boy. And then there's boy, girl, boy. And then there's boy, boy, girl. And then there's girl, boy, boy. You can't ever get these. That's why you need to write it down. There's 8 of them. And I don't ever get them the first time. Girl, boy, girl. Girl, boy, boy. Girl, boy, girl. Girl, girl, boy. And girl, girl, girl. I'm missing one, I think. Yep, I'm missing one. I think it's the boy, boy. Boy, boy, boy. Boy, girl, boy. Boy, girl, girl. Right? Boy, girl, girl. Check, make sure I got them all. I think that's 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And there's your sample space. So in this case, you don't have to roll the dice. You don't have to pick a card. You have to form a sample space. So you've got 3 types of probability. One, you've got the theoretical probability. That means you count the number of sides on the die, and however how many that you want, it'll be that number out of the number of sides. 1 out of 52, 4 out of 52, 4 face cards out of 52. You don't have to have a deck of cards. You just have to remember how many cards are in the deck and how many face cards are in the deck. You don't have to do anything. You just mathematically figure the probability. Then there's physical probability, where you have to actually pick a card, shuffle the deck, to the back, shuffle the deck, pick a card, to the back, shuffle the deck. Do it 10 times. Then you figure out of 10 times how many times you get a face card. How many times you get a king. And you need to compare those 2 probabilities. And then there's the sample space. Sample space is pretty much, you figure out what are the possibilities, and then you're back to the mathematical probability, which is basically 4 face cards out of 52. Or 1 out of 6. You just have to count which ones are which. So, which one has 2 boys and a girl? Well, you take the handy highlighter. 2 boys and a girl. There's one. 2 boys and a girl. There's one. 2 boys and a girl. There's one. Any others? So what is the probability of 2 boys and a girl? 3/8, right? I don't know that one. What is 3/8? Somebody tell me what 3/8 is in the calculator. Point what? Okay, let's see. I was labeled. You know, all y'all got to calculate on your phone. Take the read about how much? 0.38, 0.375. There you go. Oh, we haven't talked about ours yet. Ooh, that bite looks good. So there's your three types of probability. Now, let's pull up a roulette wheel next. Because the roulette wheel is a problem where you talk about odds and you talk about gambling. And I think it's very important that you understand how to do odds against. Because a lot of people have no idea how to do it. A lot of people don't even know what a roulette wheel is. Okay? So, let's go ahead and do that. But before I do it, for those who don't know what a roulette wheel is, we'll go pull one up. Listen, there's people in here who didn't know how many was in the deck of cards. Look what a roulette wheel is. Let's pull this guy up. Okay. Might be able to. Really? Alright, now let's look at this roulette wheel. Besides, this is a test question. So I'll tell you that. Now the roulette wheel, you put a marble on the outside rim and you spin it around one way. You spin the roulette wheel the opposite way, and eventually the marble's going to fall into a number. Okay? It's going to fall into a color, it's going to fall into an odd, or not odd, or not odd, or even whatever. Now, this one, somebody count, it looks like to me it's got 36. Somebody count to see if I'm right. 36 is the biggest number, I believe. Or is it 35? I'm looking, I thought I saw 36. Okay, just so I know, because I can't find 36 now. Where is it? Okay, black 13, that helps me out. I don't even know where that is. How about 4 o'clock? How about 4 o'clock? 4 o'clock, thank you. Somebody going, who told me that? Terrence Fox. Alright, 36 numbers. How many slots? 38 slots. 0 and double 0 on there. This one's got 1 0, okay? Usually they have 2. I thought does anybody see a double 0 on there? Okay, well, there's 38. There's supposed to be 38. I don't know if this is some kind of different. There's usually 2. 0 and double 0. 0 and double 0 are not odd or even. Now that's the key in this question. Alright? Now, the question is going to read, I'll go ahead and just write the question. It's going to have like 3 or 4 parts. A roulette wheel, and I'm going to go ahead and put in 2. A roulette wheel has 38 slots, 1 through 36, and 0 and double 0. Okay, it'll say something like that. And then you go, what is the probability? I don't know how to spell probability. What is the probability of winning with an even number? And then it's going to ask, that's part A. And then it's going to be what are the odds against winning? That's big. Now there's two kinds of people in here. One type is saying, well, I remember doing that back in high school in probability and statistics. And then there's one that's saying, I have no earthly idea what he's talking about. Okay? Most of the time it's the latter. There it is. Now, they're also going to ask you, might as well go ahead and do this too, because I don't like the question. But C, it's going to say, what if odds against is 1 to 1 and you bet $200? Okay? What if, not what is. No. Let's see, can you sit any further away from the front of the room? I'll fix it. I'll fix it. Okay, going back a little bit more. Yeah, I'll pull it. I'll fix it in a minute. Let me fix this. $200 don't go there. It always goes here. Until I don't count money very often. I'm not a politician. Oh! I should. All right. This computer is running like very slow. Have y'all noticed that? No, y'all don't notice anything. Y'all don't say anything. Y'all don't notice anything. Just okay. How's that? Okay. And then it's going to ask one more question. C is a stupid question. Okay. D is what are if you use your odds, your calculated odds, what would you take home with a $200 ticket? Okay, now there's your question that you're going to see either on the homework or the test. Now the first thing you need to ask yourself is, how do you do the first one? Well, the winning or success failure is equal to even, right? Because it's asking, what is the probability of winning with an even number? At that point, when you're reading a question and they have the word winning, that means that's success. Now, success plays into odds against. When you see winning, that means success. All right, winning. I didn't even put a G on that. Let me see. There we go. So even numbers, 38 divided by 2 is what? 19? Okay, so I'm going to put probability, parentheses, of even is equal to 19 out of 36. 38, sorry. Wait a minute. 36, half of 36 is 18, sorry. 18 out of 38. Okay, make sure you understand that because there's 38 slots. Where did I get 18? No, where did I get 18? 18 is half of what? 36. There's 36 numbers. Okay? Now, you will see a note on this question, and it'll say It'll put in parentheses, or it'll say no, 0 and double 0, not O. 0 and double 0 are neither. I don't know how to, that I before E thing, I never have understood that, because half the time it don't even work. I don't know if that's neither, but it should be EI. Is that right? Are neither odd or even. And that right there is very important. Because the opposite of even don't blurt it out, because it may be wrong when you blurt it out. What's the opposite of even? Not even. Was OJ innocent? You think so? You've been drinking the Kool-Aid. A lot of people say, what are you talking about, OJ? What's OJ got to do with this? Let me ask you a question. Let's say Mr. Smith works at, where do you work, Mr. Smith? You work anywhere? Okay. Let's say he works at Bojangles. Okay? And he works at Bojangles, and he's working on Friday, Saturday night, or whatever. And one of his friends comes up to him or calls him and says, I need to borrow your car. And Mr. Smith says, I'm at work. He said, well, can I come by and get it? I need to borrow your car for about an hour. Okay. So he lets him borrow his car. Mr. Smith works till 11. This is about 9:30. Mr. Smith, his friend comes up, Mr. Smith gives him the keys and lets him borrow his car. While he borrows the car, Mr. Smith's friend robs the bank, shoots the security guard, and the security guard might die. Later on he dies. So now we got robbery and we got murder. Okay, this happens, people. Okay? Car's sitting back at Mr. Smith, and what do you think happens the next morning? Mr. Smith, come with us. Mr. Smith has no idea what's going on, and he says, what's this about? Well, your car was seen in the vicinity of this and there was a man murdered in a bank robbery. ATM jerked out of the wall. Whatever the case may be. Could have been grocery store, whatever. Mail shop thief. All right. Is he innocent, or is he not guilty? Which things will keep you involved? He's innocent. Why is he innocent? He has three things. He has an alibi. What's in all businesses now in the corner of the room? Camera. Okay. So he's on camera, and he's got eyewitnesses. What did OJ not have? He didn't have any of them. Okay? See what I'm saying? Will Mr. Smith go to court? No, he will not. He's innocent. See what I'm saying? Only people that go to court are the people that are either guilty or not guilty. All right? Good example. My cousin Denny. Loved that movie. Love Marissa Tomei. Love Joe Casey too. But anyway, love Marissa Tomei. What was that? What were they? They were innocent. But they couldn't prove it because they didn't have cameras. They didn't have any eyewitnesses, and eyewitnesses were all rednecks that couldn't see, and that kind of thing. Have you ever seen My Cousin Denny? Classic movie. Mr. Smith, you're kidding me. Your parents' fault. It's your uncle's fault. Okay, tell him I said that. It's a great movie, but it's mistaken identity. But they had no way to prove it. All right? And in the middle of the movie, or not the middle, the first part of the movie, um, there's Karate Kid guy, and then there's the other guy. I don't like the other guy, but I like Karate Kid guy. But the Karate Kid guy, they're in arraignment. Herman Monster, the judge, says, well, counsel, do you have anything to say? Do you have anything to add? And the case says, no. And the guy says, why didn't you say anything? You could have got the case thrown out. And Joe Pesci goes through his, you're in effing Alabama. You come from New York. You killed a good old boy. There is no way this is not going to what? Trial. Why? They have no cameras. They have no witnesses. They have no alibi. Okay? So they are not innocent until proven innocent. So they are assumed guilty or not guilty until that comes out. Okay? O.J. was never presumed innocent, never proved innocent. He was proved not guilty. Okay? Nobody could put him anywhere else during the time of crime. Where Mr. Smith was at work, while his car was being used for whatever. That's the difference between innocent and not guilty. And if it's proven without a shadow of a doubt that you are innocent, then you are considered innocent. That was never proven with O.J. And now they found another knife. I don't know how that's going to be. But anyway, what the heck does this have to do with? Well, in this case, the question is giving you a context. It's saying, in this question, I'm not asking for odd or even. I'm asking for even or what? Not even. They're telling you that. I did highlight it, but it disappeared. With the zero, not neither odd or even. So they're telling you there, I don't care about odd, I want not even. So you need to make a note of that. So there's your two probabilities. Now, something else you want to do on this problem is keep everything in fractions. Because with this right here, with against winning, if you keep everything in fractions, you can cancel out and your answer is a whole lot easier mathematically. Okay, so with this problem, you want to keep everything in fractions. Now, I want to go to another page, and this is just for your information. You don't have to do this. The reason I'm doing the typing this morning is people told me that when I do the mouse, I go slower. So I'm trying to go slow by doing this too. So that's why I'm not writing on board. I get writing on board and I get fast. So I'm trying to help y'all out. So thank you, Hubert. You're welcome, class. Thank you for being interactive. Whatever. I want to make a dozen cookies, or 2 dozen cookies. Everybody with me? And I use 3 cups. Now I cook, but I don't memorize, so I don't need anybody telling me, well, you're cooking, not going to have butter. Shut up. I'm just using some ingredients. All right? I had that. I looked at that person. I'm like, what is that? I didn't say that. So anyway, 3 cups of milk, 2 cups of flour, couple. Is that Latin for cup? 2 eggs, 1 stick of butter, 2 cups chocolate chips, 1 teaspoon salt. Okay, I'm using, let's make that bag. I'm trying to use different units of measurement here, or different measurements, because I want you to see where I'm going with this. All right, so there's that. And then you like the cookies, and then you say to yourself, I want to make some more cookies. A week later. And you say, I want to make 48 cookies. I want to make double. Where did double come from? That's what I heard. I heard, huh? You took 24 times 2, or you took 48 and divided by what? 24. Okay, that's what you actually do. And I'm going to take 48 divided by 24 is equal to what? 2. And then I double everything. There's a reason I'm telling you this, okay? Usually people have found out, that I teach differently from other teachers, but it works. And if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Good parent. All right, so instead of 1 cup of milk, 3 cups of milk, I'm going to do what? 6 cups of milk. 4 cups of flour. 4 eggs. 2 sticks of butter. 6 bags or 8 bags. You can splurge on that. But 4 bags of chocolate chips. And 2 teaspoons of what? Everybody with me? No problem. So we go over here and we say to ourselves, you know what? I'm going to make a bunch of cookies because I want to have them for the next month or the next 2 weeks. So I decided to make 72 cookies. So what I do, I take 72 and I divide it by 24, and that gives me what? 3, but that's okay. So that gives me 9, 6, 6, 3, 6, and 3. Everybody with me? So whatever I need, I'm going to divide that by what the ingredients make, and that gives me a constant to multiply by, right? The 2, the 3. Well, what if I, just being the odd person that I am, I decide to make 103 cookies? Well, you can't do that, either. Why? So 103 is not divisible by 24. Okay, so we can't make 103 cookies. We take 103 and we divide it by 24, and then we multiply that by the ingredients. So just because your constant is not a whole number does not mean that you can't use it. So you want to get that? All right, so you need to highlight that. That's the whole point of me doing this. Take your highlighter, and I need you to highlight whenever you have something that's not a whole number, it doesn't mean you can't use it. It just means you have to punch more on the calculator. Now in this case, what is 103 divided by 24? It's not a number. Get back to that. Whatever. What does it come out to be? 4.3. So I would multiply everything by 4.3 instead of multiply by 4 or by 3 or whatever. And of course you would be doing some estimating, but the whole point is you would multiply 4.3 times, so you use 12 and a quarter cups of milk, 8 and a half cups of flour, or a little bit more, 9 eggs, 4 and a half sticks of butter, 10 bags of chocolate chips. You can splurge on chocolate chips. You can round up 2 or 3 bags there. And 4 teaspoons of salt. See what I'm saying? All right, now 4 and a half teaspoons of salt. Now, remember this. Remember the ingredients when we go back to against odds, okay? Remember that. All right, we're going to go back to the equation now. I'll go back to the question. The probability of the probability against is equal to the probability of failure over the probability of success. And what's the probability of, or what are the odds in favor? It's the opposite. Odds in favor is the probability of success over the probability of failure. So you need to write that down. We'll write that down over here. Probability, I'm sorry, the odds, this is odds, not probability. Okay. Odds, no yawning in class. Odds against decorum in this class is just like the number. Odds in favor. Yeah, I had to do y'all's midterm grade. Why are there 3 people in the classroom that are not on my lab plus? Don't say nothing. Don't raise your hand. But I don't understand. That's all I'm going to say. Odds in favor. If the odds against, I don't even know who their names are. I didn't even look. But there are 3 people. How do I know that there's 3 people not on my lab plus? Because I had to go down and these are high school students. Okay? I went down the list of midterm grades that I had to turn in for your high school. And then I went down to my lab plus list, and there's 2 or 3 people, 2 or 3 of y'all have not registered on to my lab plus. So I just gave you a C. I should have gave you an F. So I gave you a C, so I don't know what you got. I don't know what your grade is. You haven't even taken the freaking test. You're not going to say anything? So that means you got an F, pretty much, because you haven't even taken the test. You got a 0. Now, I don't know who it was, because there's 3 people. So don't raise your hand and say, you talking about me. No, you just need to come up here after class, and you need to tell me what's going on that you can't get. We're in the 5th week, and you're not registered. Didn't I tell y'all there was going to be some people? Remember the first week I told you there was going to be people. Y'all didn't believe me. It's like there's going to be people that make a 6 in the class. A 6. Odds in favor is probability, no coughing. Probability of success over the probability of what? Failure. Now, in our case, what is the probability of failure? Yeah, what is that? 20 over what? Okay. And what's the probability of success? 18 over 38. Thank you for the interaction. I appreciate it. So important. Now, what do you do when you divide by a fraction? Multiply by the reciprocal Hubert. That's right, Tyler. And what happens to the 38? That's why you leave it in fraction form. So what is the odds against 20 to 18? Can you reduce that? Yeah. 10 to 9. So the odds against is 10 to 9. 10 over 9. Okay, this question right here is stupid. If you have a 1-to-1 odds against and you bet $200, then what are you going to get back? $200 if you win. So you break even. So the answer to C will always be this number. So it's a stupid question. Okay? Now, what are the odds if you make a $200 bet with our odds again? Then what are you going to do? Huh? I heard root. That's what it sounds like, a frog. Root. Say again? Oh, okay. What are you going to do for D? Because 10 over 9 is our constant. Remember the fraction in, think of it as a constant. 10 over 9 is your constant. So you're going to multiply 10 over 9. Somebody take a calculator and multiply 10 over 9 by 200. What do you get? $222.20. Now, I need to make a note here because I don't know what your homework says, but last semester when we used the other book, $220.20. Sorry. They put, what is your profit? $222. That's why I didn't. I said, if you use your odds against, what would you what? Take home. I didn't say profit because evidently somebody in that other book don't know what the meaning of profit is. Profit is you take the money that you got minus the money that you put in, and that's your what? Profit. It's economics. You know, something that a businessman will know about, a politician will know about. Anyway, so $222.20, you made a profit of what? But their answer, how much profit do you make? They say 222.2. Now the reason they say that is because technically you gave your money up when you put your money in. Okay? When you go to a casino or whatever, you give your money up. You give them $200 and then you walk away with nothing. You got a chip or whatever the case may be, and then you bet on something, and then you go back and you what? Cash it in, and then you get your money. So they're looking at it from a point of profit from zero. Well, that's not theoretically correct because technically you don't go home with $222.20. You go home with what? $22.20 because you put in 200. So be careful. I don't know what this new book asks. I have to look and see. There's a little question on there and we'll go to it. But be careful with that question. I want you to make sure you understand what profit is and what net is. Gross and net. All right? We good? Let's do another one of these so you'll have a couple. Because like I say, I do put these on the test no matter if your homework has them or not. Well, let me go back and find one. Let me go see if I can find one on your homework. Let me check to see if y'all want spontaneous with the bus anytime soon. I don't think so. No way. Whatever. Chapter content, y'all said this is 5. This is 5-1. I guess we want this 5.2. I'm just looking, I don't know where it is. There should be a roulette wheel on here somewhere. if not. That's where we want it. Not the dadgum onion again. Alright, we can start on this. An American roulette wheel has 38 compartments around its circumference. 36 compartments are numbered from 1 to 36, with half of them colored blah 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 blah. The remaining 2 compartments numbered are colored green. A ball is spun, blah blah blah. What is the probability that the ball lands on the number 27? Well, that's easy. 1 out of what? 38. Okay, good. You got that. What is the probability that that's a complement? Complement 128 be 26, or I'm sorry, 35 out of 38, 37 out of 38. Okay. What is the probability that the ball on the 10th spin lands on number 27? Well, we're not getting into that. I'm trying to see. Okay, they're not even doing the Alright, so let's go back here.